Hey dudes and girls, here with a push-ups mistake video. So we want to get this video underway with the first mistake, which is going to be not using your scapula or scapula retraction, keeping your shoulders pronated forward and not getting the proper chest activation, because of course the chest is going to be the main mover in the push-ups, and the chest is a big muscle, it's very strong, so if you're not utilizing it correctly, you won't be able to do push-ups correctly. So we're going to see the what not to do first, and we're going to fix it to show you what it's supposed to look like. So Michaela's going to get down in the push-up position. She's going to do it on her knees to spare herself from getting too worn out in the chest. But she's gonna keep her shoulders forward, and then she's gonna try to do a push-up with this kind of like, protracted shoulders there. The shoulders are staying forward, not getting the proper chest activation. There we go, yeah. So, not gonna feel it in the chest. Your shoulders are gonna try to take over, your triceps are gonna take over. It's gonna be a lot more difficult for you to do your push-ups. So what you do wanna do is when you get down that push-up, really pull the scapula back, and then go down in the push-up position. And then the chest all of a sudden is gonna be the main mover. It's gonna be able to push a lot harder. It's gonna be in a better position to be able to push yourself up to that top position. And one exercise you can do, okay, good. One exercise you can do to get used to that position is going to be the scapula pushes. So getting into the push-up position, you're gonna push your shoulders forward, and then you're gonna pull your shoulders back, just like so. Push them forward again, and then pull your shoulders back to really pull those shoulder blades together as far as you can to get you used to where the shoulder blades should be. So shoulder blades back together, down into push-up position, push up, just like so. So that is really gonna strengthen that movement to really help pull the shoulder blades back in together and get you used to the proper position for the push-up, making sure your scapula is together, your shoulder blades are together. That way the chest is doing all the movement. Mistake number 2 is going to be having a weak core. Now this one is a pretty common one, and your core is really gonna stabilize you in that plank position, in the push-up position. So when you're in the push-up position, as Michaela's gonna get down to now, as you can see, when you're on your toes and your hands, what you're gonna see here, your upper body is pretty much in line with your lower body. Now what happens when you have a weak core, you naturally wanna dip your hips downward because you really can't hold that position, or you push them high, and that way most of the weight is on your arms and the tip of your toes there. So go ahead and do a push-up in this bad position. There you go. There we go, see, exactly. This pretty much just breaks that whole really strong structure, because the core is really gonna strengthen the position that you're in, so that way when you're doing your push-up, you're not weakened and you're kind of not breaking that strong structure. So what you want to do in order to strengthen yourself in that position is actually just get into the push-up position and hold that for as long as you can. Now you can either do it in the push-up position with your arms straight and yourself on your toes, or you can get down into a plank position where your body is going to be on your elbows. There you go. And in this position, so it's basically training yourself to keep this stable structure and get your core strong enough to hold it for an extended period of time. And that way, when you're able to do your push-ups, or maybe you're already doing them, that way you're gonna be doing them correctly, and you're not gonna be pushing your hips up too high or too low. And again, you're gonna feel a lot more stable and strong. All right, on to mistake number 3, and it's gonna be your hand and elbow placement. Now this one is up for quite a bit of debate. The reason being that everyone's morphology is gonna be a little bit different, so your hand is gonna be placed a little bit different. So if you're a little broader in the shoulders, your hands are gonna be placed a little bit wider. If you're more narrow, your hands are gonna be a little bit more narrow. And your hands can dictate where your elbows go sometimes as well. So if you get down into push-up position and you bring your hands really wide, sometimes you have the habit of your elbows flaring outward, and what that's gonna do is put a lot of pressure on the shoulders. It's gonna be less in the chest, and you're just gonna feel uncomfortable overall. Or if your hands are really narrow, your elbows are gonna wanna be placed back, and what that's gonna do is put more emphasis on the triceps. So you wanna try to find a good middle ground, and usually what I like to recommend is place your hands just below shoulders, maybe just slightly wider. So that way, when you get down into push-up position, your elbows are just about a 45-degree angle to your body, and that's gonna be the best position. So when you push with the chest, your elbow's in the right place, your shoulders aren't kind of in that impinged position there with your elbows really wide. They're tucked a little bit more. You can pull your scapula back and you feel really comfortable. So we're on to mistake number 4, and this one is gonna be range of motion. Now, range of motion is a very important thing to always remember in any kind of exercise. If you do a short range of motion, what you're really only doing is building strength in that certain range of motion. So with your push-ups, if you get down to the position and you find yourself only being able to go down a few inches and pushing back up to the top position, you're really not getting the full benefit of the strength of a real push-up. So what you have to do is really work on getting that full range of motion coming all the way down and then pushing yourself all the way back up to the top position to make sure you gain strength in that full range of motion. Now, the unfortunate part is if you find yourself doing these short ranges of motion, it's a pretty good sign that you don't really have enough strength to do a full push-up. And now this is leading us on into mistake number 5, which is gonna be not having enough strength to do a push-up. So the mistake is that you're trying to force yourself to do a movement that you're not strong enough to do yet. But the good thing is you can implement a lot of different exercises to gain strength in a movement like the push-up. Specifically, 2 that are very good is going to be the assisted push-ups, which one is going to be doing a push-up on your knees. Now, this is decreasing the amount of weight that you normally do in kind of like that full push-up on your toes, on your hands. What you do is just adjust yourself on your knees so that way you lighten the load a little bit and you'll be able to do push-ups a lot easier. Another exercise is really good is going to be the banded push-up. Now, this one is a little bit more technical because you need the space and bands to be able to do this, but what's really good about it is that you're able to do a full push-up. You're on your toes, you're on your hands. The band is wrapped around about the sternum area and you connect it to a place above you so that way it lightens your load quite a bit, but you actually are performing a real push-up, just with a little less weight. So implementing these 2 exercises and slowly building yourself up to be able to do your first push-up. We actually did a video on how to do your first push-up, and we have a lot of different exercises that you can implement into your program to be able to gain a lot of strength to be able to do your first push-up. If you want to check that video out, the link is in the description below. But once you're able to do your first push-up, these are the mistakes you do want to avoid because it's going to hold you back from being able to get the most out of the push-up. And the push-up is an amazing exercise. I mean, there's so many variations. We went over basically just the classic push-up. As you get better at push-ups, your hand grips can vary, so the positioning can change. But if you're just trying to learn a standard push-up, avoid these mistakes and you're gonna be on the road to success. So thank you, Michaela, for helping out with this video. Always appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And there you go. Are you excited to do your first push-up?
Yes.
You already did. She already did her first push-up, but to do them even better, get stronger. That's what we're all about. And me too. So I'm gonna be practicing these and always making sure I do them correctly. Buff dude style.